Hey everyone, Retire on Dividends here. I'm back to make another update on my weekly series, which compares Roundhill to Defiance to YieldMax. Well, really just YMAX and YMAG. But I finally remembered, and I'm in the beginning of this video right now, I'm going to cover the other Defiance funds. That, again, they're just going to be part of this video. They're not part of the battle, right? The comparison, the verses, but they are still covered since they are Defiance income funds. So let's get to it. So last time they declared, which was not that long ago, about a week ago or so, SPY-T ended up with a yield of 20%. YieldSoy ended up with a yield of 62%, and QQQT ended up with a yield of 20%. And by the way, why am I covering these separate? Because these funds were not changed via this prospectus. So since they do not pay weekly, it doesn't make sense to compare them, similar to like I'm comparing the others. Although YieldSoy, I'm surprised that they're not going to do weekly because they're a similar strategy to the other high yield Defiance funds. But anyway, let's get to it and see how these funds did over the week. All right, so obviously this is for SPY-T. Their last dividend or distribution was 33 cents, okay? So what we want to do is we want to see how much the fund actually has gone up since that date. So you could see the month-to-date income. On X date, it actually went up 4 cents. And then 2 days after that, consecutively, it went up a penny. Actually, wait, income per share. Why does this show negative 3? Income per share starts at 0. Oh, it's made 4. What does this add? C242 minus C241. Yeah. Income per share, right? 1 second, guys. Just gonna make sure my formulas are good. All right, yeah, so never mind. That's the income per share is obviously just for that day, okay? So anyway, that's month-to-date income is yellow, column E. Sorry, I feel like it's been a while since I looked at this spreadsheet. And then the change each day is in orange. So if you look month-to-date income, obviously 4 cents is what they made on X date. Then the next day they lost 3 cents, which put them at a penny. And then obviously the weekend came and then they made 24 cents, holy crap, 43 cents, holy crap, 15 cents, and then 5 cents. And that put them at 88 cents, which is ridic, right? Ridic. That is a lot. And 88 cents just happens to be more than 2.5 times over the recovery rate of the prior distribution. Because again, the beauty of this fund is they will pay you 20% no matter what, no matter if they make more, no matter if they make less. So obviously this month they are on a tear to make more. Things can change as we know, but right now the fund, you could see it closed at $20.18. So they have made 88 cents this month alone, very short time frame. So obviously we see SPY-T, great performing fund, capital stays flat. Sometimes you have gain, but overall I'll have to say it really just stays flat, right? You don't really get massive capital gains or anything, but you do get a consistent 20% distribution. So, and like I said, things can change, but right now there's a nice recovery rate of 265%. Total return, again, you count that from inception. This is without DRIP, without dividend reinvestment. This is taking the dividends as cash. I'm showing a total return of 13.92%, which is pretty damn good. All right, let's go. Let's go to the oil one. YieldSoy. All right, YieldSoy had a distribution of 78 cents last, and then since then, they made 21 cents in 1 day. That is freaking awesome. And then they made 12 cents, 7 cents, 10 cents. Unfortunately, the last trading day before this video, they lost 20 cents. So that knocked them right back down to a month-to-date income of 30 cents per share. Recovery rate, they have recovered 28% of their latest distribution. And you can see their price, not that great, $14.66. Typically, these funds launch around $20. So obviously, overall, the fund, is down in capital. And unfortunately, also total return is in the negative. It's only negative 0.54%, but negative nonetheless. So that's not something, that we want to see. We kind of want to root for this fund. And now that there's a change, well, it didn't happen yet, but the election is completed. And should be favoring oil, once the changeover happens. So maybe USOY will do better in the long run. So maybe it's time to jump in. Not sure, but let me know what you guys think of USOY going forward. Is this a buy? Do you like that it pays monthly, by the way, or would you prefer that they change that to weekly? Because again, they don't have a competitor, right? USOY, and maybe that's why they didn't change to weekly, but I don't know. Let's see. All right, so here is QQQT. Let's take a look. All right, their last distribution was 32 cents. Since then, they have made 12 cents, lost 5, made 18, made 50 freaking cents in one day. Unbelievable. They made more than their typical average distribution in one day. And then the next day made 33 cents, and then they lost 3. So overall, they made $1.05 since their latest distributions ex-dividend date. Recovery rate 3 times over. Oh my God, 333% recovery. I'm sorry, 330% recovery rate. So finally, QQQT is waking up and doing better. Overall total return though, it shows 4.56%. But again, it's good. Capital flat essentially, paying a 20% distribution each and every month. So a lot of people, this is what they want, right? They don't want to have to reinvest. They want the consistent and high yield, but they don't want to have to reinvest. So SPY-T and QQQT are perfect for those types of people. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the summary. Again, we kind of covered this last time, but real quick, based on the last distribution, we can see, I have it under November, obviously. The payment was not covered essentially by any of them, which is unfortunate because they all had bad months. I mean, USOY is the only one that made money. It made 53 cents, but it paid 78, right? SPY-T lost 14, they paid 33. QQQT lost 23, paid 32. So again, overall, not a great month, but you can see, months prior, they did do much better overall. So capital gain wise, again, just look at like the movement in the price up or down. SPY-T is down 75 cents, USOY is down 5.58, and QQQT I'm showing down 1.42. This is how much they paid in distributions, 2.66 for SPY-T. USOY paid 5.17, and QQQT has paid $1.28. So if you take those two numbers, what I'm showing is actual premium that they made. I'm showing that SPY-T made $1.91, and USOY and QQQT didn't actually make any because they had more loss than income, unfortunately. So another important thing I add here, how much do you need to reinvest to essentially keep your fund whole, right? USOY and QQQT, again, based on their performance, I'm just showing you have to reinvest the whole thing, right? And that's just based on the numbers that we're showing because they're not, again, performing the best, especially USOY. USOY is having a rough go at it. QQQT, I mean, we saw they're having a really good month, which kind of boosts them up. So after this month, this number is going to look much better, of course. SPY-T has consistently done pretty well. So I'm showing you only have to invest a small portion. But most people would say, I'm not investing anything. And again, after this month, this number is probably going to be 0, right? That you have to actually reinvest. But we'll see. Again, I add this, do what you want with it. But this is just kind of the numbers that I'm showing. All right, last but not least, let's show the status. And this is just to show like the prior outstanding shares and the current week to week, right? So SPY-T did have a decrease in outstanding shares by 75,000. That's a 1.5 million net asset change. Well, actually, let me make sure. Does this have a formula? Yeah, I'm going to have to get rid of that formula. I'm going to have to do a paste special. So the net asset change, I don't trust that column. Let's just look at the outstanding share change. Current week for USOY, they had an increase of 75,000 outstanding shares, so more people buying into USOY. And then QQQT, we had more people buy in, only 25,000 though. But still, at least it's growth. These funds are growing. Again, Personally, that's me. I think it's good to be in a fund that is growing, which is why this is something I track. If you see a fund that's just selling off, and there's less and less interest, then when it can get to a point where you're going to say, all right, this fund's probably going to close, right? There's no point of them keeping this open because it's not worth it to them, financially. But USO and QQQT, their net, where's net asset value? So they're showing 16 million each. So I'd like to think maybe above 10 million, they're probably going to keep it. Again, I don't know the right number, but they have a decent expense ratio. What is it, it's like 1% or 0.99%. So, they're making a pretty penny on that. So SPY-T obviously doing the best for sure. But I think they thought QQQT would do much better, but it has not, because people are in love with SPY-T. And if not, it's either SPY-T or nothing, pretty much. It's SPY-T, and then if not, they jump to the high yields. All right, I know everyone else is like, enough about these funds, right? Let's go on to the fun stuff. All right, let's do it. Here we go. All right. So, if you're new to this battle, what we do is basically we compare Roundhill versus Defiance. And why do we do that? Because they have funds that sell puts or sell calls on the index on a daily basis. Roundhill typically does the 0 DTE and Defiance does 1 DTE. However, Defiance updated their prospectus. They can do 0 DTE, but they do not, right? Not that I've seen at least yet. So we compare, since they trade on the same index and they do daily options and they pay the same, they do this, they have the same ex-dividend date, they have the same payment date, everything is the same. And then of course we add YMAX and YMAG because they're also in the weekly party. So it's a big party of comparisons. And then you guys can judge, are these funds worth a damn or not? All right, so let's take a look. Again, anything in blue is kind of what I covered previously. So we can look here. We have, just so you know, 11/2, right? That would have been what, the Saturday. So unfortunately, the Monday change in price shows on the Saturday. Whatever, I know it doesn't really matter, but anyway. So Monday, the Nasdaq did go down 0.35%, right? QQQY went down 0.03%. QDTE went down a little more, 0.24%. So Monday, QQQY took the win, right? Did better than QDTE overall. Tuesday, the Nasdaq went up 1.32%. And then this was, Tuesday election day. And then QQQY went up 0.48% of that. Again, not a big jump, but decent, right? But QDTE actually went up more, 0.99%. So that's pretty damn good. All right, next day, the index went up. The Nasdaq went up a lot, 2.74%. QQQY actually went up 1.23%. That's not too bad at all. However, QDTE captured almost all of it, going up 2.62%. So again, 2 wins in a row there for QDTE. And then another big day for the Nasdaq. It went up 1.54%. Unfortunately, Defiance only captured 0.61%, but QDTE captured 1.73%. So it actually beat the index that day, right? It beat not only Defiance, but it beat the index. So good job, Roundhill. So 3 wins in a row right there. And then Friday, the index went up 0.07%. QQQY went up 0.62%, which is pretty damn good, obviously beating the index. And then QDTE, although it beat the index as well, it only went up 0.18%. So QQQY for the win. So one thing I'm learning as I'm doing this is the higher jumps, like the big days, the big increases, Roundhill is really the fund you want to be in. Especially, obviously, if it happens overnight or in the morning, right? Because they close out their positions before end of trading day. So they can capture whatever is, it's jumping up, post-market, after pre-market hours. They're going to capture that, right? Because they have a long call. Defiance, whether they do the 1 DTE or not, they do the 1 DTE because they want to capture the premium for the overnight cycle. Because if you trade same day versus, one full day, obviously you're going to capture more premium. Also, they don't have a long call, right? Roundhill has a long call, which, since they close out their covered calls each day, that long call captures the upside. If Defiance had no trades overnight, there's no exposure to the index. They don't have a long call. They don't have anything tied to the index like Roundhill does. I don't think I ever mentioned that actually, and I wanted to. And that's something I think Defiance needs to change, to be honest, and it's something we should probably bring up if we get to interview them. I don't know if it's probably something we should talk to Sylvia about, not Jay. Because I think it would make their fund stronger. I don't know how that works with puts versus covered calls. Obviously, with covered calls, they need to do that. They need to make that position because they need to have, to be able to sell covered calls, you need the position to do so. When you sell puts, you just need the collateral, right? You need some type of collateral to hold against it. Anyway, let me move to the next tab. I'm rambling. All right, so this is the comparison of the S&P 500 versus WDTE versus XDTE. All right, so Monday, the S&P went down 0.28%. WDTE actually went up 0.1%, which is pretty impressive. XDTE went down 0.12%. So WDTE for the win. All right, so let's go to the next day, November 5th. The S&P went up 1.23%. WDTE went up 0.22%, and XDTE went up 0.58%. So, not both of them didn't capture the full upside of the index. However, XDTE did go up more, so we'll give them the win. Next day, big jump here. So S&P went up 2.53%, and this is the problem with Defiance. On big jump ups, they don't capture a lot of that upside. WDTE only went up 0.85%. If we look at XDTE, they captured 2.43%. I mean, that's big right there. That's a lot, man. 2% freaking day, to almost 2.5%. So, I got my eye on you, XDTE. All right, let's look at the next day. The S&P went up 0.74%. WDTE went up 0.5%, so that's not a bad capture. However, XDTE actually went up a whole percent. So it beat the index that day. I'm not sure how, but it did. Again, go check out Reaching Riches if you want to see the Roundhill detail, trade by trade. He can show you, like for this day, for example, he should have that information for you. If not, bug him for it. I'm sure he'll be happy to give it to you. All right, so last but not least, we have the S&P. It went up 0.38% on the Friday, and WDTE, I hate saying that. God, I hate saying that. It went up 0.92%, which is really good. XDTE only went up 0.34%. So WDTE took the win that day. So 2 wins for WDTE versus the 3 wins for XDTE. And by the way, Defiance also won the first round 3-2 as well. So I'm sorry, Roundhill won both, 3 versus 2 on both so far. I'm getting these mixed up. Okay, so now we have the Russell compared to IWMY compared to RDTE, right? All right, so let's get to it. The Russell on Monday went up 0.4%. IWMY said, I'm going up 0.61%, son. RDTE captured 0.37%, so IWMY for the win. It beat not only RDTE, but it beat the index. Okay, next day, the Russell went up 1.88%. IWMY only captured 0.51%, so that sucks, right? It's about a third, not even. And then RDTE actually did worse. It only captured 0.37%. So again, I don't understand how they capture upside on one and not the other. Again, my only assumption is most of that 1.88% gain happened during the day, right? It didn't happen on the after hours, right, or pre-market hours. So anyway, let's keep going. So the day after election day, right? On the Wednesday, the Russell went up 5.84%. That's a gigantic jump. Yeah, and you're not going to see jumps like that normally. So, but since it did happen, we're going to compare it, right? IWMY captured 1.86% of that. Wow. That sucks. I mean, normally, yeah, that's a great jump. However, the Russell went up 5.8. IWMY lost essentially 4% gap there. Now, RDTE, this just shows, obviously, fantastic upside. In fact, it beat it by a freaking fraction of a percent. It went up 5.85%. It beat the index when the index went up 5.84%. So again, amazing strategy that they have, and it works really, really well. And IWMY, man, that's a tough one to beat. That's a beast, right? So RDTE, it's got its hands full, right? It's like that, little crazy ass kid that you don't want to fight because he'll whoop your ass, right? He don't look like it, but he's nuts. And IWMY is that crazy boy, so don't mess with him. But he got, RDTE sticking to his guns. Simple win, huge win that day. That's going to help him throughout, this whole journey too. All right. Next day, Russell went down 0.43%. IWMY went up 0.32%, and RDTE went up 0.09%. So IWMY took that one. The Russell went up 0.71% on the Friday. IWMY went up 0.59%. Where was RDTE went up 0.55. So IWMY took the win there. So actually IWMY, although 4 wins versus RDT 1 win. That's awesome. However, RDTE is the real winner here, right? Because of the freaking 5% upside. They basically beat it. They beat IWMY by 4% that day. I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot to catch up on. But like I said, though, there's not going to be days like that. It's not normal for the Russell to go up 5%. It went up 5% because a president it got elected, who loves and roots for small business, does things that make small business successful. And obviously the Russell is small business index. So again, you're not going to see that maybe every 4 years, right? So we don't have to really necessarily worry about that. But again, long term, you don't have to think about these things. You want to invest in a fund that's going to capture a decent amount of upside and pay you a high yield. And RDTE is showing that it can do that. Although IWMY did win 4 days out of the 5. All right, so next we compare YMAX and YMAG, right? Why do we compare these two? Well, who else are we going to compare them with, right? So anyway, YMAX on the Monday, where do we go? YMAX went up 0.18%. YMAG went up 0.5. I'm sorry. It would help if I could read. YMAX went down 0.18%. YMAG went down 0.53%. So YMAX for the win that day. Next day, YMAX went up 1.24%, which is pretty good. YMAG went up 1.44 though. So YMAG for the win. Next day, again, the Wednesday after election day, YMAX, big day, did go up 3.39%. Probably because crypto, right? They're heavy in crypto, so that's probably why they got a big number. YMAG not too bad itself because YMAG heavy on Tesla. YMAG did go up 2.74%. However, YMAX with the win. All right, next day, YMAX did go up 0.73%. However, YMAG went up 1.83%. And again, we could thank Tesla for that. Another fantastic day. And then last but not least, on the Friday, slow day, YMAX went up 0.06% and YMAG went up 0.51%. So YMAG for the win. So YMAG did take 3 of the 5 days. So good job, YMAG. You did beat YMAX. All right. Now is where we go to the next tab where we have the yield war. What we do here is we compare the yields under, all of the funds, right? We can, you could look at them individually, which is why I have them color coded, or you could look at them overall. QQQY had a 40% yield. Again, this is on the latest distribution. QDTE had a 31% yield. So obviously, it's pointless to say, but it's always the same thing. Defiance will typically always yield more than Roundhill. That's kind of known. Sorry for that noise. My wife is leaving, so hopefully the baby don't wake up on my watch. Here we go. So anyway, WDTE is yielding 36%. XDTE is yielding 21%. So obviously a WDTE for the win. IWMY 50% yield. RDTE 30% yield. So IWMY for the big win there. And then YMAX versus YMAG. YMAG actually really good yield, 55% versus YMAX 35%. And if we want to look at the top three for this week, QQQY, they're up there. They're the lowest. They're number 3 of the group, 40% yield. Number 2 is IWMY with a 50% yield. And number 1, YMAG. Good job, YMAG, 55% yield. Now, the NAV war, this is where we compare the NAV for the week. we actually look at the index overall. We look at the and then we look at the funds. So the Nasdaq did go up 5.33% this week. QQQY went up 2.91%, and QDTE went up 5.28%. So, that again, that's a pretty good, really good for QDTE. So, we'll see how that goes. Obviously, going forward, but that was quite a freaking good day that day. I mean that week. But look at that. That's amazing. Again, look at it. Nasdaq went up 5.33. QDTE went up 5.28 of that, and it's a high yield fund. That's impressive. All right, the S&P went up 4.59%. WDTE went up 2.58%, and XDTE went up 4.26%. So again, very impressive from Roundhill. All right, next, the Russell. Look at that, man. Holy crap. The Russell actually went up 8.41% for the week. IWMY went up 3.9%, and RDTE went up 7.24%. So again, really, really good capture, from that freaking big jump. Look at that. The Russell went up 8.41% in 1 week. Again, it's not something you're going to see often, but still, RDTE captured 7.24% of that. Gotta love it. I own all these, but still, I'm just like, I have to revisit what I should own, when I cover these funds. So, this is a game changer week for sure. It's eye opening nonetheless. Anyway, so YMAG. Oh wait, did I add? Yeah, I didn't add that. Anyway, YMAG for the week did go up 5.99%, and YMAX went up 5.24%. Both went up over 5%, so we can't really complain. Let's move forward. All right, total return war. This is where we compare the total return for. People asked me to add the index next to them. So, FYI, I did add the index. However, I'm not including any dividends that come from the index, so it's not a true one-to-one comparison. So keep that in mind. So the index, again, since I've been tracking this, which is since October 4th, the index has gone up 5.4%. QDTE, when I said the index, the Nasdaq went up 5.4%. QDTE actually beat it 5.56%, and QQQY went up 2.07%. The S&P went up 4.25%, XDTE went up 3.9%, and WDTE went up 1.85%. Again, this is everything: capital gains, distributions, etc. Except not for the index, not distributions of the index. All right, next is the Russell. The Russell went up 8.44%. RDTE did go up 6.62%, and IWMY went up 2.47%. So, it's tough to beat the indexes, and obviously we can see that. However, QDTE did beat the index, so that's pretty impressive. Now, if you look to the far right, I did add MAGs. So there is an ETF that tracks the Magnificent Sevens. So I can't really add an index to compare against YMAX because it's all over the place, but I can add an index to compare against YMAG. So why the hell not? MAGs has a total return of 9. Wait, how do I have distributions there? Delete that. There you go. 9.28%. Obviously, I'm not including distributions from MAGs. But MAGs did go up. Total return 9.28% since 10.4. YMAG has gone up 7.79%. And YMAX has gone up 6.08%. So for those of you out there who say it's better to own the underlying than the options ETF, this is your comparison to prove you right or prove you wrong. Obviously, typically, the underlying is almost always going to beat any covered call ETF, any options ETF, because it's always going to be capped on one side or the other, right? The point of it is probably, or most cases, to produce you high income. So a lot of people are in this for the income, clearly. And I'm one of them, right? All right, so that's the comparison of the total return war. We will continue to the assets under management war. Now, what this does, it compares if people bought in over the past week. So let me zoom in as much as I can. There you go. All right, so QQQY actually had a decrease, 75,000 outstanding shares. Total net asset change did go down by 1.6 mil. QDTE, the first one was QQQY. I don't know if I said QDTE. I feel like I'm mixing letters today, unfortunately. Hopefully this video comes out all right. QDTE did have an increase of 210,000 outstanding shares. That's a net asset change of 15.9 mil. WDTE had a decrease of 50,000 outstanding shares. That's a decrease of 1.4 mil. XDTE had an increase of 110,000 outstanding shares. That's a net asset change increase of 7.8 mil. IWMY had a decrease of 100,000 outstanding shares. That's a net asset decrease of 3.4 mil. RDTE had an increase of 100,000 outstanding shares. Is that a coincidence or what? Selling out of IWMY, going RDTE, maybe, I don't know. Net asset increase 4.6 mil. So here's the story. People are selling out of Defiance and people are buying into Roundhill. Okay, that's what I'm reading week over week. What about YMAX and YMAG? People showing them love? Let's see. YMAX did go up 900K outstanding shares. That's a 16.3 mil outstanding, the net asset change, which is massive. No increase on YMAG, however, based on just price increase alone, net asset change, they go up by 2.4 mil. And if we want to compare the three, who's the biggest fund? Again, Roundhill, even though they have three funds versus YieldMax's two that we show, Roundhill has 835 mil in net asset value between the three funds. Defiance has 410. Again, we can compare those two because they both have the three funds. So obviously Roundhill, overall, assets under management bigger than Defiance. YieldMax with the two funds, they have 570 mil assets under management. But as I always mention, YieldMax also has NVIDIA, who has one fund over $1 billion, 1.3 billion. So, that's how big YieldMax is comparably, to give you an idea. I should put that on the bottom, NVIDIA, just to show how crazy that is. But anyway, they're all massive funds, though. I mean, let's get real. They're all making money. All right. Someone asked me, can you just add up the total NAV? All right. So I did it. All right. I'm all about making you guys happy. See, I also did add the average yield. So QQQY, their average yield since I've been tracking this is 43%. The total NAV increase 2.2%. QDTE average yield 30%. Total NAV increase 5.7%. WDTE average yield 34%. Total NAV 1.9%. XDTE average yield 20%. NAV increase 3.9%. They're all increases. That's good. IWMY average yield, now you'll love this, 52% average yield. NAV increase though, 2.6%. RDTE, average yield, 33%. That's pretty damn good. Total NAV increase, 6.8%. That's really damn good. YMAX, average yield, look at this, 56%. That is the highest of the group. And that's showing a NAV increase of 6.29%. YMAG, 50% average yield. Awesome. Total NAV increase of 7.95%. So again, for average yield, obviously I'm averaging the yields that I've done since, October 9th, since I've been tracking it. Same thing with the NAV. I'm showing the NAV week over week, the changes since I've been tracking the funds, which again is October. So, it is what it is. Very, very short time frame, so we can't make decisions based on this data. This data is more about just comparing like short term, like day in and day out. Like what if the index goes up massively? What if the index stays flat? What if the index goes down massively? How do these funds react? Which one's better than the other? In a bearish market, which fund do you want to be in? In a bullish market, which fund do you want to be in? That's the reason I'm tracking it the way I am. It's more, again, short term. Again, as I'm doing this, if I keep this series going on and on and on, and say I can get to a year, which will be awesome, right? We have a full year of data, then we could truly see, more of a long-term view, which fund is better for you, right? Because some funds, Defiance may be better for some people just because of the high yield, just because they need the high income, right? They know they'll get 43%. However, obviously they don't want their NAV to go down, right? They're trying to stay capital flat and they're trying to get the income. So they're trying to do the best of both worlds. How can I get the most bang for my buck without losing too much money on capital? That's the question. That is the battle. That is the true question. Some people don't give a damn if they lose capital, although they should. Some people say they don't, right? They say they don't care, and that's fine. And Defiance is perfect for them, right? It is. But again, don't use this video to make decisions. This is like more of a short-term comparison right now. But obviously, once I get through like a year, like I said, you may have a better long-term view. We've been through an election cycle already, so obviously that's a big event to go through. It was a bullish change, though, right? We need to see like a big, sell-off on the market to see what happens with these funds. That I don't think we've seen truly yet. So that'll be cool to see. It won't be cool for our portfolio balances, but it'll be cool to see on this comparison, if you guys agree. I don't know. All right, guys. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you were entertained. If not, I will try again next week. I will do better. I swear. I know I messed up a lot of letters today, but it's just, busy day as always. Weekends are freaking nuts. What else? If you enjoy this content, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them down in the comments below. Also, if you want to give an opinion on how you enjoy this series, if you do enjoy this series, let me know. If you don't like this series, let me know why. But I feel like it's working out pretty well. Regardless of the outcome, again, I don't have a side. Right now, I'm investing in all of them in my dividend car account because I decided to, because I'm collecting that weekly income in order to help pay the bills. If I decide that one or more of these are not qualified to handle, such a responsibility, then I will eliminate them. But right now, I actually own all 8 of these. All right. Okay, I think that's it. I'm not going to do a keyword. Keyword is for the morning videos. But if you want to write something, I don't know. You could just write the fund that you like. Do you like Defiance? Do you like Roundhill? And do you like YieldMax? You have to pick one. All right. If you had to pick one fund manager, who would you pick? Pick one. All right. So although I said no keyword, but technically I guess that's a keyword. Pick one, anyone. All right, I'm out of here. I'm done yapping. I felt like this was a really long video, but I'm out of here. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.